The following program is being sponsored by Hibernation Apparel. Please see the link in the description to show your support.
The following presentation is a production of Reunion Media Group. Please see the show description for the link and please support our show sponsors.
Welcome to Soul Cafe Radio. You are listening to From the Heart, a daily podcast designed to inspire, encourage, and educate the people of God. And now here's your host, the Wordmaster.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you're listening. You're tuned into Soul Cafe Studios From the Heart podcast. I'm your host, the Wordmaster. On yesterday's presentation, we continued our series looking at Blessed Are, and we were looking at Matthew 5:10, where it says, "Blessed are ye, when men shall persecute you for righteousness' sake." So that was one thing. In general persecution, you're being tortured, being assaulted, being cruelly attacked, but it goes deeper in our closing presentation here on the Blessed Are series in our finale. Matthew 5:11 says, "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake." So it goes beyond being persecuted for righteousness' sake. In other words, you're being persecuted because you're a Christian. Like Daniel, right, when he was in the lion's den. They could not bring a false accusation against him. He lived such a strict life that they had to trick the king into changing things so that he would be against the kingdom. Joseph, Potiphar's wife, she lied and said that he slept with her. Now that was saying something evil against him. And you have other examples. In fact, the greatest example that we could think of course, is Jesus right there in Caiaphas' hall, where all these false witnesses were hired to lie and to say false things about Jesus. But even the record itself says that they were all tripping over themselves and they were contradicting themselves and so forth, that no one could keep a straight lie. "Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake." So like I said on a previous presentation, we were talking about being persecuted, and we were talking about you being persecuted because you do this and you do that and you do the other, and that's why they are persecuting you. Here, there's an added dimension, like we said, that would add, and that is that they'll add false accusations and say that you did things that you didn't do, right? And you know what? Here's how we end the series, beloved, tying in verse 10 and 11. Here's what Jesus says, just to tie all of that in a nice bow. In fact, to wrap up the Beatitude series, verse 12. "Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you." Again, like I said on a previous presentation, oftentimes, well, it's not often, I don't think that there's anyone on this planet who loves being persecuted, who loves being reviled, who loves being lied on. But for the most part, the reason why we shy away from it is because we don't feel that there's a tie-in and that there's a purpose and that there's a greater good. All we have to do is remember. See, I just mentioned Daniel, I mentioned Joseph, but there's others. The rest of the three Hebrew boys and the disciples and many persons throughout the Old and the New Testament, Paul for one, and so on and so on. And Jesus reminds us that to rejoice and to be not just glad, but exceedingly glad. Again, you don't rejoice that you are being persecuted. You rejoice in the persecution that you are fellow laborers, fellow sharers with the apostles and the prophets and the patriots and Jesus Christ himself. For so persecuted they, the prophets, which were before you. You see, my friends, blessed are you because you're found worthy to share in the lot of Jesus Christ. Blessed are you because you are a fellow burden bearer in the sufferings and the trials and tribulations of Jesus Christ and those who came before you. I trust and pray, my beloved, that you get this. And so from my heart to yours, I want to say today, as we wrap up the series, you are truly blessed. Whether it is that you hunger and thirst for righteousness, you're truly blessed, whether it is that you maintain your meekness despite whatever else is going on. Blessed are you when you hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are you when you retain your purity. Blessed are you, my beloved, when in your most severe trial you realize that you need to mourn over your sins and the sins of others, because, as you well are aware as we wrap up the series, if God is for you, who can be against you? Blessed are you as you go through persecution. Blessed are you when you're lied upon. Blessed are you, my beloved. Remember that and be exceedingly glad. I trust and pray that going forward, that even when the tough times come around, that you'll learn to rise above the situations of this life, because blessed are you. May God bless you abundantly. Until next time.
The preceding has been a presentation of Reunion Media Group. Please see the show description to be a monthly sponsor. Monthly sponsorships are $2, and you will receive exclusive content not heard anywhere else.
Thank you for joining us today on Soul Cafe Radio. You've been listening to powerful music and messages for the mind and soul. Join us next time when we deliver more of the same. And remember to visit our website at www.soulcafeonline.org.